What he just said has Oiler fans fired up as we finally hear the latest from the main man himself, number 97, the captain of the Edmonton Oilers, Connor McDavid, with the latest on his contract negotiations. How far along is he? When is he going to sign with the Oilers? We will break that down today here on the channel. But if you haven't done so already, folks, make sure you subscribe here to the channel, as we are very, very close to 4,000 subscribers. We are 38 away, so hopefully we can hit 4,000 by the start of the regular season there. I know training camp would be, a bit too much to ask, but by the regular season, folks, make sure you hit that subscribe button to get Oilers Digest to 4,000 subscribers. But without further ado, the latest on Connor McDavid in his contract there from TSN's Ryan Rashog on the McDavid contract. There hasn't been a back and forth with dollars in term to this point between the two sides. Of course, McDavid's agent, Judd Moldover, did talk to Stan Bowman, but when it comes to, an actual, full-blown negotiation, that has not happened quite yet after taking some time to regroup after the season. McDavid and his agent of, Judd Moldover of Wasserman Agency there are working through what the options are and what the ask will look like. There is no firm timeline on this, and expect the dialogue to continue there. And McDavid was expected to address the media at the Olympic orientation camp today in Calgary, and that he did alongside Sidney Crosby and Sam Reinhart there, the three named to Team Canada's roster already for the 2026 Olympic Games there. And three other Oilers, Bouchard, Nugent-Hopkins, and Hyman there, also invited to the Team Canada orientation camp. But McDavid was the first one that we heard from so far today. And while the Oilers would obviously love to have the captain's signature on a new deal before training camp opens next month, McDavid does not share the same sense of urgency. He has said repeatedly that his biggest priority when contemplating his next contract revolves around knowing that he'll be playing somewhere that gives him a chance to win again and again there, saying, I'd say all options are on the table, really. I don't have a preference either way. I want the group to be as focused and dialed in and ready to roll from day one as possible. You don't need any distractions. As I said, I'm taking my time with it when it comes to signing a contract. Before the season opener, October 8th against the Calgary Flames there, which led, many on social media to, say some crazy stuff. Bodog, Connor McDavid, you are a Toronto Maple Leaf. And again, many Maple Leaf fans in the replies there saying, oh, he's going to become a Maple Leaf. He does not want to be in Edmonton there. And Connor McDavid had this to say, shutting that down completely. I have every intention to win in Edmonton. That's my only focus. Maybe next to winning a gold medal for Canada. I mean, he's already, won for Canada at the Four Nations face-off, but something a little more legitimate here with the 2026 Olympic Games. But it's my intention to win there. I'm taking my time, going through it with my family, my agent, everybody involved. We're going through it slowly there. So Oilers fans, take a deep breath, relax here. Connor McDavid, he is not going anywhere anytime soon there. So Bodog, he will not be a Maple Leaf there. The only chance he's wearing a Maple Leaf is with Team Canada in Italy, and we will not see them play until February 12th there against Czechia, opening up the tournament on the second day of the men's hockey tournament there in Italy. So we'll have to wait again until February to see Connor McDavid rep the Maple Leaf once again there. But the tournament does open on February 11th there with the four teams, the two games there. Hopefully we see, guys like Mattias Ekholm with Team Sweden there, and then Thursday, February 12th, so hopefully all four of the Oilers make it there. But again, I think it'll only probably be, David and Evan Bouchard there of Team Canada knows what is up with knowing how to select a team there. But something a little more close there, the Oilers do open up the training camp September 17th and begin the regular season against the Calgary Flames at Rogers Place on October 8th there. And, you can sort of compare the two summers there last year with Leon Draisaitl in Connor McDavid there. Apparently the Oilers in Draisaitl were a little further apart than earlier believed in contract negotiations, and that was on August 28th of 2024, and he signed on September 3rd. So, apparently they weren't further apart all along there. So, again, do not fret, Oiler fans. Connor McDavid will sign with this Oiler team there. McDavid has won 5 scoring titles during his 10 NHL seasons, finishing with at least 100 points in 8 of those years. He's also finished atop the postseason scoring list 3 of the last 4 springs, taking home the Conn Smythe Trophy's playoff MVP in 2024. McDavid's done everything there is to do in the game of hockey aside from winning a Stanley Cup, so he wants to do that, and only in Edmonton Oiler uniform there. And from Stan Bowman, I've had really good conversations with Judd Moldover, Connor's agent, since the season ended, and I've tried to give Connor his space. I think that's important. A lot of this is respecting the athletes in their timeline, so we haven't had any of those types of detailed discussions yet, but we certainly will, and I think we're very encouraged by all the conversations I've had to date, and when the time comes to negotiate, then the time will come. That came shortly after the season there, so Stan Bowman, again, not trying to rush into this whatsoever there when it comes to keeping a star player happy. Not just, the negotiation side of things, but just giving him his space. McDavid and Draisaitl were over in Europe for a good chunk of the summer there. They had their joint honeymoon. So, again, life is not all about hockey here, as crazy as it sounds there. You got to give Connor McDavid, a chance to live life once in a while there, and Stan Bowman doing that at all there. And someone that is much closer to Connor McDavid, his former agent, Jeff Jackson, the CEO of the Oilers, they're reiterating that, how important he is to not just the team, but also the city of Edmonton, Alberta. Connor's been in Edmonton for 10 years. He's been very vocal about how much he loves the city. He loves playing for this team. The team is good, which is paramount to Connor having the opportunity to win the Stanley Cup there. And again, that all boils down to it. Connor McDavid said, give me the pieces around me, and I will stay with this hockey club there. And that's what the Oilers have done. Maybe not in all aspects there, the goaltending, but, giving him wingers there, Ike Howard, the trigger man that might see some time on the top line with Connor McDavid, Zach Hyman, his right-hand man there on that right side. So the Oilers, slowly but surely, a little more slowly than we would have liked them to have done so, but they have given Connor McDavid a team. They've gone back-to-back to the Stanley Cup final. Has the team done that in spite of management? One might say. But, look around the NHL and how these teams are built there in the Oilers. Back-to-back Stanley Cup appearances there. We haven't seen that from a Western Conference team in quite some time. And the Oilers have done it 2 years in a row. Have they been on the losing side? Yeah, but it's just, the experience. I'll cope here and say the experience is helping this team, reach the finish line once and for all. They got into the finish line, but crossing it has been, their nemesis for the past 2 years there, and even going back to, not just that, but, the Colorado Avalanche in 2022, that was a learning experience. 2021 against the Winnipeg Jets, learning experience, and all these losing seasons, not losing seasons, but losing when it matters the most. This is what will cause the team to eventually break on through to the other side. But that is it for today's video, folks. Make sure you subscribe to the channel already if you haven't. And again, let me know down in the comments there, when do you think Connor signs? Do you think he signs right after the orientation camp? Does he sign during training camp? Before the season, the deadline, October 7th, before the season opener against the Calgary Flames. Again, let me know down in the comments there. But take care. Have a great rest of the day, folks. I'm Matt.